Hello there, dear friends, and welcome once again to the Relaxed Fantasy Review. On this channel, we spend our time looking at fantasy of all sorts, from books to movies to video games, and applying the characters within into the tabletop game Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition. Today, we're going to be looking at a core mechanic of D&D itself. Specifically, we're going to be looking at a subclass of the monk, the Sun Soul Monk. The Sun Soul Monk radiates a lot of something you might expect to see in anime when you think about martial artists using their energy to throw bolts of power at range. The Sun Soul Monk is all about using their radiant and fire powers to fight. Mechanically, it can be a little tricky. Let's see how it pans out. First of all, at level 3, they get the Radiant Sunbolt power. They can do a Radiant Spell attack. This is a single attack that they do at a 30-foot range. It does the same amount of damage as their martial arts die, so 1d4 to start, and it goes up over time. And this can also be used as one of their attacks from extra attack, and if they use a bonus action, they can do it twice. And then, they have to use their key point and a bonus action to do it twice. Personally, I think this is a bit of a miss, because it's nice to be able to do radiant damage instead of, like, bludgeoning damage. But monks are fast. Monks are very fast, and they can cover a lot of distance, and their Flurry of Blows does the same amount of damage. In fact, it does more damage because it adds their dexterity or strength modifier to it. And they can do one more attack by using a key point. Instead of the 2 Sunbolts, they would do 3 punches, the regular attack and the 2 from Flurry of Blows. Or they can do 2 without using key. Again, radiant damage is nice if you find an enemy that's resistant to your attacks. And the range is kind of unnecessary, but I guess if you really need to do damage at range, it can help. I say 7 out of 10, personally. Only useful in specific times. Then at level 6, they get Searing Arc Strike. If they attack, they can use their bonus action rather than doing one of their key abilities. They can use Burning Hands. They use their key and cast the Burning Hands spell. Burning Hands is nice. Burning Hands is good. To use your key to cast it is a bit of a stretch. And the damage from Burning Hands is comparable at this level to your Flurry of Blows anyway. Because, again, your martial arts die goes up. Burning Hands doesn't, and you can't upcast it. So, another 7 out of 10. If you need to do fire damage to something, fine. If you want to hit in a cone because you've got a cluster of enemies, also fine. Other than that, just punch. It's not as good as the regular monk powers. At level 11, they get the Searing Sunburst power. This is actually a little better. It does radiant damage in an orb, the same size as a fireball, 20-foot radius. And you can upcast it and make it stronger by using more key points. So you can actually do the equivalent of a radiant fireball. This is good. It's a big area, can be cast at a good range, and does radiant damage, which is very hard to resist. I say this is 9 out of 10. This is a worthwhile ability if you have to fight a lot of enemies and clear a space. You could still go in and use your martial arts just fine, but if you need to do something, this is better than the Searing Arc Strike for sure, for ranged powers. Finally, at level 17, you get Sun Shield. You activate this ability and emit light for 60 feet, and then you use your reaction whenever someone hits you to deal radiant damage to them. So you weaponize your reaction and you emit light. That's cool. Weaponizing your reaction is nice, and it doesn't take away from anything else you're doing. It just is something that happens. So 8 out of 10, I guess. The Sun Soul Monk is a bit of a weird one, because I want to like it. I want to like shooting Hadoukens or whatever out of your hand. I want to like casting Burning Hands and Radiant Fireball, but it all feels so unnecessary because it doesn't add anything to what the monk naturally does. It uses ki, taking away from your ability to use your other powers, and it's not as good as Flurry of Blows or Stunning Strike unless you have to fight at range. And monks, yeah, for ranged fighting, this is good. And I give the Sun Soul an 8 out of 10. It's not terrible. It just seems like it's taking away from what the monk wants to be, which is a brawler and a skirmisher, and it walks away from that path. And if you want to be on this path of the Sun Soul, I say go for it. It's certainly not useless. It's just not where I would take my own monk. This has been the Relaxed Fantasy Review. If you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe down below, and keep your eyes peeled for more subclass reviews coming down the line soon. Have a good one, my friends.